Hi guys, this is Katja with Creative Image Studio. Long time no see. I thought it's this time of year again, it's Christmas time, time to make some cards, time to think of our friends and family, and I thought let me shop my stash with you all to share some inspiration. There are lots of treasures to be found in our stashes, guys, and let me share that. And also let me share some card tips with you all. It's been a bit of a tradition on this channel to share Christmas card tips, so I hope you find some use in them this year as well. So let me turn the camera angle to the table. I shopped my stash for some Christmas papers, so this is the harvest that I chose this year. You can click somewhere here in this corner and see the stash video that I did a while ago. So you can see my entire papercraft room where I keep all of my beautiful papers. So this, like I said, is the harvest that I chose this year. So I chose a bit of a vintage theme, vintage colors, a bit grungy. Nice to have some 6x6 inch papers as well. This is a cut apart sheet, so beautiful vintage themed. And there are lots and lots of papers. Not everything is studio light. I have some simple stories. I have some Kaisercraft. Who even remembers Kaisercraft, guys? What even happened to all of those brands that we used to love a couple of years ago, at least that I used to love? Everything has changed. I didn't look for 5 minutes and the whole papercraft world seems to have changed, also with the brands, etc. But my stash hasn't changed at all. So this is nostalgia and I love it. Anyway, so I won't show you every single piece of paper. Well, I will show you some stickers that I had left over from the basic gray wassail collection. I did a little, oh, let me check. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. I did a little folio. I was going to say a Christmas folio with the wassail paper collection. Very cute Christmas folio. There is a video on this, of course, on my channel, so you can check that out. I will link it here somewhere. Yeah, check that out. There is a tutorial for this one as well in my Etsy shop. And I do still run my Etsy shop, guys. I'm still selling my tutorials and they are still inspiring several people, guys. So the shop is alive and well. Check it out. I do great tutorials, even if I say so myself. They are very elaborate, lots and lots of clear pictures, many details. The measurements are in centimeters and in inches, so all over the world you can use it. Whatever measurement system you work with, it doesn't matter. Let me see, this is more stash, more cut apart sheets and all kinds of vintage Christmassy fussy cut sheets, punch outs. All right, and I also found this Christmas tree. This is a die-cut Christmas tree that I bought on some papercraft market, I think. So anyway, so shopping your stash is the point of this video. So now that you have seen what I shopped, you can go shop your own stash. And I haven't even shown you all of the ephemera and the embellishments. Let me show you this one. Look how great that matches, guys. This is Tim Holtz's Ideology brand. It's the Christmas quote chips, he calls it. Yeah, quote chips. And you have all of these quotes. And of course, there are lots of flowers and ribbons and all of that stuff. So I won't bore you with that, but take it as a given. Oh, I have just found another 6x6 inch pad lying around here on my table. So let's add that to the stack as well. I have a lot of cardstock, of course, to go with this. So I'm going to show you some cards, not for you to create exactly the same cards, because then you would need the exact same papers, but to inspire you with simple but effective and elegant techniques, so that you, if you have shopped your stash, can easily turn this bunch into hopefully a lot of nice cards. So let's do it. So the first card I made with a sheet by Peon Design. This is a Swedish brand. I don't even know if they still exist. I think they do. And they had this collection long ago in Bethlehem. A beautiful Christmas collection. And I bought one of their 12 by 12 inch sheets that had a 4x 6x6" pattern, if you can still follow me, but I will insert the picture here because of course I forgot to film it. But this is the sheet. It is double-sided, so I cut that in 4 parts and matted it onto a card. So that is the card that you see here. Now, I thought the paper was beautiful as is, so the only embellishment that I did was I added some stickles to the angel's wings, which you see me do here. So this is a very, very simple way to add a little bit of interest to a otherwise beautiful pattern. This is not a specialty paper, so I turned it into one. Could I have done more? Of course, I could have added a lot of stuff on the front of the card, but I decided not to because the nativity scene, I think, speaks for itself. On the inside, I just simply layered 2 pieces of paper so that I had room to write my Christmas message. And then on the back, I just matted with a beautiful piece of the 6x6" pattern paper. So that was a very simple way, guys. If you find such 6x6" patterns on your 12x12" papers, you already have a card. So for the next 2 cards, I chose this sheet by Kaisercraft from their base coat Christmas collection. I'm sure it will be hard to still find this somewhere. I also used 2 pieces of cardstock, a white one and a burgundy red one. Now, the only thing I did was score them in half so that I could have a clean fold and fold it into a card. The next thing that I did is cut the sheet of design paper to size for both cards. I decided to only decorate the front, so that way I could be quicker and leave the rest of the card unmatted. So that is also an option, just decorate the fronts of your cards. You can have a lot more productivity that way. If you are in need of dozens of cards and you want to make them yourself, just to the front of the card, that is quicker. And then I decorated them. So let's look at this first one. Here is one of the quote chips by Tim Holtz from this package that I just showed you. So I chose Merry and Bright, and as you can see, I also chose one of the vintage cutter parts that I just found in my stash. Now I did some intricate cutting and layering here, so let me show you up close. So I cut into the base coat Christmas sheet by Kaisercraft here and here, so I could stick this decorative element behind it. So that is a nice effect. And then I simply used some strips of paper here and here. And that's it. I of course inked around all of the edges, but that is optional. And as you can see, the rest I left as is, just stamped my name. And that is the first card. Second card is in the same style and also the same technique. So here again, cut into these berries here and stuck the decorative element behind it. And then 2 pieces here and here. And here I added a little Merry Christmas and I lifted that with some dimensional tape. And that's it. So it's very simple and yet it looks very cozy in my opinion. And again, the rest I left as is. So these are the 2 cards that I created with only 1 piece of design paper and some decorative vintage looking elements by Studio Light, but you can of course use anything from your own stash. For the next card, I'm thinking I'm going to use these 2 lovely papers by Stamperia. Beautiful papers, same collection. I'm not sure what it's called, but I will put that below here. And it's double-sided, of course. Now the bird I feel is the most important element or the most beautiful element here. It draws the eye. So here's my thinking. I want to use this on the front in some way. And here I found a Happy Holidays. So this I can use for kind of a second front, right? So I'm thinking card with a flap that turns up and then opening up onto this. So the bird on top, then the Happy Holidays, closing the bird again and then opening the card. And then use this, the rest of this and or this. So this is a bit more intricate, but still very easy. So let's do that. I hope I'm making myself clear. If not, you can write your questions in the comments. I am going to turn the camera angle because I'm working like this and you are looking like this, so everything will be upside down for you. So I'm going to change the camera angle. So there we go. So I'm going to use this green paper. So I'm thinking scoring it in half. That's always a good start. So we're going to have to score again in half. And now I'm going to have to cut 1/4, so 1 panel from the rest of the sheet. So just follow the score lines and cut with your scissors. And voila. So this you can throw away or keep it, of course, for some other project. For now, this is what you're going to need. So one you will fold like this and the other you will fold like this. And then you have the card that I described with one flap going up and the other opening like this. That was what I described. So now it's a matter of cutting your design papers to size. So I wanted the bird to go on the front. And then when you open this up, I want the happy holidays to be visible. So either here or here, we'll see. So first you cut everything to size and then you have to think about decorating, because then the order of things matters. It matters if you cut first, if you emboss, if you heat emboss, if you, well, whatever you want to do, you have to think about it up front. So let me share some ideas. I was thinking, let's do a strip of paper here. Let's add some poinsettias and add one of the quote chips like this. And then I was thinking, well, it's not enough. I want something here. So the sentiment is here. A stamp with a sentiment here wouldn't do, but I could do a pattern of something. I could do an inked pattern, or I could do some kind of embossing or texture paste, and that last is what I'm thinking. So I am thinking using this stencil, something like this, and then do something here. And I'm thinking using a transparent texture paste, which means that I'm not gonna glue all of this down yet, because I want the stencil to be able to lay flat and not be hindered by something like this. So everything should wait, and then I'm gonna first do the texture paste and only then can I glue it down. So that is what I mean by the order of things. Don't glue it down and then decorate with all of the mixed media techniques. So I'm gonna lay this apart because the texture paste will be next. Now for the next pages, same thing. Before I glue anything down, I'll have to think about what I want to do and when to do it. So this is nice, but a bit boring. So I'm thinking about embossing this with an embossing folder and then adding some metal wax or something to highlight certain parts of the embossed pattern. So this also I will lay apart and not glue it down yet. Here I'm thinking using this Christmas tree. This is the happy holidays that I wanted to use, so that has to remain visible. Now this tree is a little bit too tall to fit the card exactly, so I'll probably have to crop it a bit. So the order of things would have to be first gluing the tree down, then taking the paper, cutting this off, and only then can I glue the mat down. If I glue the mat down first and then the tree, then it will be impossible to do a clean cut. So this also needs some work before it can be glued down. Then on the inside, same thing. This is nice, but maybe a bit boring. So I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do here. So whatever it may be, I'm sure I want to have this separate and not glued down. And then here I have folded a booklet from some of the cut parts. I want it to be something like this, and then do a swivel tab closure here. And that means I cannot glue this mat down before I have attached the brad. So that leaves the last page. This, I can glue this down. So that is where I will start. I will ink around the edges. I will ink around all of the edges, by the way, so that that is out of the way. Then I will glue this down, and then I will do all of the special decorating one by one and then glue everything down. So yeah, so now you know my process. So let's get you to the finished product. And here's the end result, all done up. So here is the bird, that is the one I chose, and here you can see the transparent texture paste that I used through the stencil with the poinsettia pattern. Very subtle effect, but I like it. It's kind of festive. It kind of makes for some kind of specialty paper, but it wasn't. I made it myself, so you can do that too. Here's one of the quote chips. I added some blings here, and of course the 2 poinsettias that I already showed you up front. So that is the front of the card. I'm very pleased with it. So opening it up like this, it gives you the happy holidays and the Christmas tree that I cropped here and here, like I told you I would. I added a little stickles here for the top of the Christmas tree, and I also added some gold colored wax here, very thinly. And then this is the other side, and here is the embossed pattern. So I used an embossing folder with kind of a snow crystal pattern, and that is also done up with the gold colored wax, which gives it a very chic but also kind of vintage effect, because I was very sloppy with it on purpose, just doing it like this. So some parts are very golden, other parts less so. I think it matches this kind of vintage papers as well. So that is that, and then here is the inside of the card. So let's go to the left first. I found a Merry Christmas ribbon in my stash, so I decided to use it. First I stamped here some kind of border stamp with some Christmas baubles here. This is a strip of paper, and then on top of both of those I added the ribbon. Here's a close-up. And then here, this is the part where I'm going to write my message. So there's a little doorlet that I told you I would make with the swivel tab closure. So opening that up, opening the doorlet, and then I added a cut apart piece from one of the many cut apart sheets that I showed you from my stash. I found a Merry Christmas one. So here's where I'm going to write my message. It will be a short message, as you can see. It's the thought that counts, and all the work and love that I put in here into this card. And then the back. So as you may remember, I used 2 sheets of design paper, one of which was the one with the cut apart tags, and this is all I have left of both sheets. So the most beautiful sheet, the eye-catching sheet with the bird, I used up entirely in this card. So the nice thing I feel with this design is that you can use a lot of your beautiful papers and still only have one card. So it's one nice project using up papers, and it's not too difficult. You saw me do it, you saw me score and cut and fold this card. So you can do this too, guys. I'm sure you can. So yeah, I hope you found this an inspiration as well. Let's move on to the next one. So it's quite a simple card, a trifold like this. Here I will write my message. This is just decoration. Look at these fun papers. You can of course decorate any way you please. There is room for some more bulky stuff here, and you can still fit the card in the envelope. So this is a simple and fun design. This is my style, but you can of course fit your style onto each one of these panels. You can put some flowers here or some chipboard pieces or anything a little bit more bulkier than just flat paper, but I like to keep it like this. So yeah, this is a fun Christmas card, quite easy to make. I made it in less than 1 hour. Maybe I'm a slow crafter, but I like to be precise and meticulous, as you may have noticed on my channel. The next idea I have is to reuse certain materials that come your way, for instance, as packaging. Now these two are both sleeves, as you can see, and they held some eyeshadow palettes. But I kept them because I really love the graphic design of these, and I thought, perhaps I can have some use from them. So I plan to cut these apart and use them as fronts of my cards. Now the only thing I will have to do is cover this up. So it's the brand's name and it's also the eyeshadow palette's name. It says palette here, so I do want to cover that up. Same here, so the brand, the word palette. I haven't made up my mind yet as to how I'm going to cover this up, so you will see the end result in a moment, but that is an idea that I have. So if some beautiful packaging material comes your way, don't throw it out, but try to look at it from the standpoint of reusing it as perhaps a card. I have done this before. I think I even have a video about that, and I will link that here if there's still room to link. I can only leave 5 links here. If there doesn't appear any link here, then I will put the link at the end of the video or below in the description. But there is a video, I think, of me using some other decorative element also from packaging. I think it was bedding that I had bought, and that had a picture of the pattern of my bed linens, and I used that as a background for a card. I will insert a picture here of the end result. So that is the main point of this tip, but this time use Christmas packaging. So that are these two. And then the third thing, this is the same brand actually. It's a Christmas insert actually for some eyeshadow as well, so some other eyeshadow, and the brand added this Christmas card. So this is by the brand, and of course I want to cover this up, so I'm going to use this as a mat to mat a card. So these are actually some quick scrapping tips. It won't require a lot of work. I will be quick to finish these cards, and yet they will look lovely. So here is the end result. Et voila, there they are. So let me show you them up close. It's not a big deal. I didn't do much, as I told you I wouldn't. So here's the first one. I added a very small tidbit here, and I decided to cut that from the back of the sleeve. So here is the rest. So I cut out a part here and then took a part without any printing, of course. So I took this small part, I stamped a sentiment, Kerstkus, Christmas kiss, it says in Dutch, and then to make it pop, to get these really sharp, clean lines and bright colors, you can heat emboss over the stamp, and that is what I did. So I chose a white embossing powder, as you can see, and it is a very clear lettering now. I also added some stickles, and I used some dimensional tape to lift the little piece here. So that is the first card, and that's all I did. Very simple. Second card, same idea. So again with the back of the sleeve that I used, as you can see here. But I needed a bigger piece for this one. And here I did the same thing. So I heat embossed the letters. Fijne Kerst means have a nice Christmas. And then the stickles around it to decorate, and the dimensional tape underneath. So that's these two cards. I think they turned out quite nicely, frankly. And then the third card is this one. So I used it as a mat, like I told you I would. The only thing I did was add a stamp, again, Fijne Kerst, same as the other one there. And then I added a little bow, just for fun. So yeah, there we go. So this idea to actually upcycle, to reuse some fun stuff that you already own, packaging or cards by companies or something, you can use those as mats for your own card. If they hadn't printed the brand name on the front here, I wouldn't even have used this. I would have just kept it as is, like with this card. And now they can be sent out. All right, let's go to the next idea. This card I created with a couple of sheets from the Yuletide collection by Kaisercraft. And here is the Tim Holtz quote chip again. And this design I'm calling a deconstructed envelope card. And you can see why. So let me zoom you out a little bit so you can see the entire card, or at least most of it. So you fold it open like it's an envelope that you deconstructed, right? So hence the name. Now I have a tutorial video on this type of card on my channel. You can see the folds and the cuts that I make. You can see how I make the magnetized ribbon pull closure. So that's all in the tutorial. So check out either the link here, or if there doesn't appear anything, I will put it at the end of the video and or in the description below. And I decided to use the large pattern that one of the sheets had. This is actually the edge of the original paper. So the 12 by 12 inch sheet was like this, right? So it's not like I cut the Christmas tree in half. It was already like this. So I decided to utilize this entire pattern. And this kind of design is ideal for that, because we seldomly make 12 by 12 inch cards or 12-inch long cards and send them out with that length. So if you make a trifold and the 12 inches are like this, then you can use these larger patterns. Just simply cut them to size in between here. So look at the nice effect that it gives you. It also, this particular paper gives me the room to write a message. And these are some cut aparts that I used to decorate from a different collection. But I like the color theme, so I used up most of this sheet for this card, and then I used some pieces of paper from these two sheets as well. Like I said, they are all double-sided, so these are from the Yuletide collection as well. So I had 3 sheets, including the one with this nice tree. So I used the other sheets on the other side of this card. So if I turn this card around, it looks like this. So you fold it close, and I made some gussets here. This is a 1/8 of an inch gusset, so it can fold over these panels. And this is a 1/4 inch gusset to actually easily close. 1/8 of an inch would have been difficult, and then maybe the magnets wouldn't have been strong enough, and then it would have popped open. So better to have a little bit more width here on the final gusset and not fit it too tightly, because now, even with very, very small magnets, they are tiny, the ones that I used, it still closes easily, and that is because the room I left it here. So yeah, some decoration here, a little ribbon, a stamp, fijne feestdagen, season's greetings or happy holidays, and a nice little tag here that I cut apart from some other collection's sheet. So that is my deconstructed envelope card with the Yuletide collection by Kaisercraft, and here is the quote chip by Tim Holtz. So I'm showing you this as an idea, 1, because it's nice looking, it's a nice card to send out, and 2, if you don't know how to make this, like I said, watch my free video tutorial on my channel, guys. It's easy to make. I think it took me maybe 1.5 hours to create, but that is of course including thinking about things. I didn't watch my own tutorial, so I in fact designed this whole thing on the go, so it takes me a little bit more time. But if you just follow the instructions, follow my tutorial, you will be faster probably. Now, some alternatives or some extras, you can do this up as big as you like. You can go all out with flowers and bows and ribbons and all kinds of frolicky stuff, or you can keep it simple but add some embossing, either heat embossing or some embossing folders. That is an idea. And then with the gold wax, for instance, you can use texture paste, you can use some inks, you can use layering, different kinds of design papers. All techniques that I have not used in this project because I wanted to keep it simple and I didn't want to spend too many hours. I mean, 1.5 hours is long enough as it is, and it still looks great. If you want to keep it simple, then it helps to have a nice pattern on your papers. Right, and that's that. And those were my tips, guys. I've shown you several cards. Some of them have already been sent out, so I can't show you them live anymore, but the most of them I still have here. So there were some upcycling tips. Use your beautiful packaging or other beautiful pictures that you perhaps find somewhere in either packaging or maybe some magazines or glossies or some such. Another tip is to use your very large patterns of 12 inches long. You can still use them in one card without actually breaking up the pattern if you do it like this, making a trifold and opening it vertically instead of horizontally. So that's another tip. We started with some simple yet elegant layering cards, very easy to do, just to the front of your cards and keeping the rest plain. That will heighten your productivity, and it's still a lot of fun. There was this slanted trifold card that I have sent out already. That is this one, and I also had a blog post on it if you want more pictures. there was a nice shepherd's watch themed card that I found in Peon Design paper long ago in Bethlehem was the name of that collection. That was, I think, the simplest card that I made yet, because I just simply matted 3 sides of a card and that was it. Added some stickles. So that is also an option. If your paper is beautiful enough, you don't have to do anything but mat. And last but not least, if you have a lot of paper like I have and you want to use it up and make beautiful cards, make a card with a flap. So here was that one with the flap going up and going sideways. So this is a way to use a lot of paper. These are 6 panels in total, so you will actually need at least 6 pieces of paper. And of course you can do all kinds of mixed media designs as well. I did some texture paste, but you can do your own thing. There was also some embossing that you saw and some metallic wax that I used. So lots of tips and tricks here, some die cuts. So I hope to have inspired you guys to make some beautiful Christmas cards. And I think most of these you can make rather quickly. So even if it's quite close to Christmas, you can still make at least 1 or 2 of these and send them out to these very, very special persons in your life. Perhaps you buy Christmas cards for the rest of them, but there must be 1 or 2 persons that deserve your love and paper crafting skills, your talents, your inspiration, and you know, make at least 1, guys. Make 1 card at least. You can do it. Okay, guys, I wish you wonderful holidays. Have a very Merry Christmas and a blessed New Year. See you next year. Bye bye.